Hey guys, how we doing? And welcome back to the Green Stripe syllabus. This time looking at the back kick, landing in guarding block in L stance. Here it is. Okay, so by this point in your Taekwondo journey, I'm sure you've practiced back kicks on the pad many times before, but maybe just not broken it down that technically yet. Now you have to do it as a fundamental, so you will do. So we're going to start in a guarding block. We know how to do a guarding block. Now there are different ways to prepare for a back kick depending on what you're trying to achieve. When we're sparring, for example, we can manipulate our distance from the target depending on what we do with our front foot to set that kick up. For example, we could step forward slightly with that front foot, or we could pull that front foot back slightly before we spin into the back kick, and this will change the distance between us and our opponent. So there's not necessarily a fixed correct way of doing this when it comes to the application of sparring, but when we practice this as a fundamental, we're practicing this by pivoting on that front foot. There's ups and downsides to that. This enables you to throw the kick quickly, but potentially limits some of the power that you can get by stepping to the side first to allow that kick to come through the center. So just understand that there are different ways of doing this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pivot on the ball of the foot on that front foot. So we're going to lift our heel and we're going to rotate that front foot inwards. Whilst doing this, we're going to turn our body and then lift our rear knee into that chamber position for a back kick. So we're trying to get that knee up nice and high. Our back will be almost facing the target, but just slightly rotated to the point where you can see just over your shoulder. Be careful not to turn too far. If you turn your shoulders too far, you'll end up in what's called a reverse side kick position. That's a different kick to a back kick. So we want to be just peering over our shoulder. We can just see the kick over the top of our shoulder. Once you're in that correct chamber position, you're then going to extend your leg, much like you do with a side kick, except at impact here, your toes will be almost pointed completely down towards the floor because of that position of your body. If your toes are out to the side, you know you've probably rotated your body too much. As with the side kick, pull those toes back towards you and down towards the floor. We're trying to kick with our heel. Making sure we've got a good foundation with that standing leg is key because we need to be able to use that leg to drive the other leg into the target. If your weight is sitting too far forward towards the kicking leg, you won't be able to do that. You will end up with limited power and then just falling down into position. So make sure your weight is central over that standing foot so that you can then engage the muscles in that leg, and then you can retract your kick before then stepping down into a guarding block. Once you've retracted your foot after hitting the target, we need to then re-pivot the foot again so that we can step down into that L stance guarding block at the end. Okay, and that's it for the back kick. Awesome job, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.